Felicitous greetings, fellow fanatics. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Anthony, and today we're taking a look at Guild of Dungeoneering Ultimate Edition, a video game deck builder with roguelite elements by Gambrinous. Originally released in July of 2015, Gambrinous has seen fit to revisit Guild of Dungeoneering, packaging it with both of the DLCs, Pirate's Cove and Ice Cream Headaches included, retweaking the balance to fit them in line with the rest of the game, adding new items, enemies, and even a few new classes as well. In Guild of Dungeoneering, you'll take on the role of a guildmaster, hiring adventurers and sending them into dangerous dungeons where they'll fight monsters, find treasure and equipment, and if they're successful, return with new abilities to aid them on future quests. However, should they fail, they'll meet an untimely grave, and it'll be up to the next chump to hope that they fare better. And when I say chump, I don't mean that as an insult. That's literally the first class you have unlocked at the start of the game. At the onset of an adventurer's career, they'll have 6 cards dependent upon their class. As aforementioned, you only start with a chump, whose options are not promising. Attacks are divided into physical and magical damage, and as we can see here, the chump has 3 cards that do 1 physical damage each, 1 that does 2 damage, and then 2 cards that can block 1 damage of either type. However, as you complete quests, you'll gather gold which can be used to improve your guild, allowing you to unlock new rooms which attract new classes of adventurers, allow you to choose a deity to empower them, or allow them to find new kinds of items while delving into the dungeons. For example, perhaps you'll unlock the Mime, who can copy their opponent's moves, a Bruiser that deals damage to their foes whenever they successfully block an attack, or a Ranger who always strikes first with their physical attacks. There's over a dozen different classes in all, ranging from your typical RPG options to far goofier ones. And then of course, there's the dungeons themselves. You'll start off at a predetermined place within a dungeon and be given a hand of 5 cards. These can include map tiles, monsters, and treasure which you'll play to guide your adventurer and hopefully lead them to victory. When they come across a monster, you'll engage them in battle. At the start of each fight, you'll draw 3 cards and see what your opponent is about to play. Computer always plays by top decking, so you have the advantage of strategizing to counter them. However, under most circumstances, your foe will get to attack first, so you'll need to plan around that. Whenever you defeat an enemy, you'll get to take 1 loot card from them, which will hopefully aid you in future battles. Most loot will give you levels in 1 or more skills that will add cards to your deck until you either swap it for another piece of loot or leave the dungeon. Each skill has 4 levels and fits a certain theme to a degree. Arcane cards focus on letting you draw extra cards while doing a bit of magic damage and healing in the process. Armor cards are primarily for physical defense, but also do a fair bit of physical damage. Meanwhile, blade cards are all about physical damage and enhancing it by leaving debilitating effects on your enemy. Crush cards are primarily used for physical damage, but also give a fair bit of defense in the process. Fire cards are the antithesis of blade and are all about dealing raw magical damage. Growth cards are mostly about healing and do some magical damage in the process. Holy cards are primarily defensive, focused around blocking and healing, but also do a little bit of magical damage. Swift cards are mostly about hitting your enemies before they have the chance to strike you. And finally, stupidity cards exist solely to weigh down your deck, though later in the game there will be ways to turn them to your advantage. In addition to loot, you'll also find runes and fountains in the dungeons. Runes can be used for various bonuses with different options to help you both in and out of battle, though my personal favorite is the option to burn 1 of your starting cards, thinning your deck and making it easier to draw those more powerful cards. Fountains provide status effects that will last until the end of the next battle. Gold ones are buffs that will help your dungeoneer, but the red ones will apply a penalty to them in their next fight. When an adventurer successfully completes a quest, they'll gain a perk. After surviving a second time, they'll gain another. They don't get anything for their 3rd adventure, but on their 4th, they'll get an advanced perk. These are meant to be helpful as they grow more experience, though sometimes they can actually have the opposite effect. For example, there's a number of perks that grant a permanent level 1 to a skill, but depending on the skill and the character, this can be dead weight. Swift 1 is a great way for any ranger to start, but Fire 1 does more to hinder the class than to help them. Still, more likely than not, your adventurers will eventually fall in battle. When this happens, you'll need to send a new one in their stead, whom will hopefully fare better than their predecessor. That's really all there is to gameplay. You'll find new adventures with time, and there's a bit of variety between them, but it's mostly just more of the same. The real thrill and variety comes from unlocking new rooms to your guild and putting them to use. On the presentation side of things, the game is excellent. Everything has this hand-drawn aesthetic which really invokes that feeling of an ambitious game master running an RPG, complete with grid paper for the background. To further add to this, there's the bard which will constantly sing little ditties about your feats and failures. These are all meant to be humorous, though do be warned, the bard isn't exactly cheering for you. Quite the opposite, he won't hesitate to mock you for your failures and remind you of how ephemeral your successes can be.
What's this? There's more, a whole world to explore. Why, there's gold to be found and treasure in store. But what's the point? You're all hit and miss. It's so plain to see. You're not cut out for this.
It's a very goofy game overall, but at the same time, the humor can be a bit morbid with how callously the adventurers' lives get thrown away. All in all, Guild of Dungeoneering is a light-hearted, goofy title that still provides plenty of fun tactical decisions for players to make. Getting gold to upgrade your guild is a little grindy, but you're never without options. There's always something new to try. And a lot of the fun of the game is figuring out which classes will handle which dungeons most efficiently. I will say that I did burn myself out on the game a bit while playing to review it. It's really not the sort meant for long drawn out sessions. But as the sort of title to boot it up and just go through an adventure or two in the space of half an hour, it really is enjoyable. As I've mentioned before on this channel, I always appreciate a video game deck builder that doesn't rip off Slay the Spire. Of course, considering the original version of Guild of Dungeoneering came before Slay the Spire, it would have been rather difficult for them to do that anyways. Nevertheless, for fans of deck builders and roguelites that enjoy the idea of a well-done pencil and paper RPG aesthetic, I definitely recommend you look into it. In conclusion, I find Guild of Dungeoneering Ultimate Edition to be worthy of a respectable 8.1 out of 10. Guild of Dungeoneering Ultimate Edition is currently available for PC via Steam, GOG, and Epic. If you're interested in purchasing or learning more, links are included in the description. But what about you? What do you think of Guild of Dungeoneering? What video game deck builders do you enjoy? If you have any questions, remarks, or opposing points of view, leave them in the comments down below. And please remember to like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell. Until next time, farewell, fellow fanatics. Thank you again for watching. I have plenty more to share with you if you're interested. You can click up here above my head to subscribe to my channel. You can click over here on my monitor to see the most recent video that I've worked on. Or if you prefer, you can click up here to open this mysterious vault and see what video that the YouTube algorithm has picked just for you.